guys, it's Lulu here, and like I said in the previous video, we are going to be opening this parcel today. Now, I ordered this on Christmas Day because on Christmas Day there was so much light pouring onto this planet, and there was I found lots of messages incoming, especially in the morning of Christmas Day. And I realized then that I sort of got the message to work more consciously in 2021 with the earth energy and crystals. So, crystals and grid work basically is what the messages I was getting. So although so then I ordered a deck, and although this deck isn't new, it's been on my radar for a long time. And yeah, I just felt, that was the day to order it to support my learning in 2021. So this year, 2020, for me had been more about learning and linking in with astrology. And then in 2021, like I said, it's about the earth energies and crystal connection, grid work. So leaning into that as well and just adding that. So this one, like I said, it's been on my radar for a long time, and I wanted it for a long time. And I just thought, Christmas Day, I'm just going to order that. So it's by Stacey DeMarco. I've got a couple of her other decks as well, including the Elemental Oracle and... Oh, I'm just trying to see. Hang on, I'll grab them so you can see too. Okay, so the other two decks that I've got of hers is the Queen of the Moon Oracle. I really love this deck. It's beautiful to work with. It's got beautiful imagery, and I enjoy using that in readings. And then also this one as well. I really like the Elemental Oracle as well. So alchemy, science, and magic. So that's just... they're down my alley, and I enjoy them a lot. So she does have another deck out that I don't have yet, that I would like to get, which is an animal based one. So let's take a look. We'll have a look at this together. I did look at a YouTube review of this deck and another earth deck, but I can't remember who it was by. But I did notice that they had trimmed, like they'd modified their deck and trimmed the edges. So this is published by Blue Angel Publishing. And the box is nice earthy colours. These actually remind me of the sandy desert colours actually out in the Northern Territory. So it's very much, the colours of Uluru and the Northern Territory. So let me just get these open. And that's the backs. I don't think I would bother to trim these, to be honest. Because the borders is very non-intrusive, and they're not massive. They're just nicely frames the picture. So I personally wouldn't bother, even though it does look good modified. I personally wouldn't bother with that, because I've got too much other stuff to do besides doing that. So Ajanta Caves. Enlightenment is a journey. I show compassion to myself and all living beings. I can be centered within the chaos. All my past lives have brought me to this perfect moment of realization and wisdom. That's so beautiful. And that sort of reminds me of the message of Karina's, if you watched the last video where I shared the gift that beautiful Karina had sent to me, and this message of be still. That sort of, and I said, about taking the time to be still so that we can hear a message from Divine Spirit, and being in that energy of the caves. I feel like you would be able to tune into that. And so let's just have a quick look at the cards. This one's beautiful. Angkor Wat. I have the courage to live my heaven on earth, as above so below. I'm aware that sometimes things must fall apart to be reborn as I wish. So that has been the energy of 2020, but look what's opening up. So I'm really gonna, I can already tell I'm gonna enjoy working with these and love working with these. Cathedral of Notre Dame. The feminine divine is alive in all spiritual practices. Places of power remain places of power and full of love and tolerance. This is really interesting, actually. This card I would have to, I'd need to feel into that a little bit more about Notre Dame, because it's most interesting, the history behind that, and perhaps some of what's hidden from us as well. So Death Valley. I am resilient, there is hope, there can be success through hardship. So yeah, the cards are a bit stuck together, so we'll have to go through them. And so this is Delphi. I receive divine messages constantly and clearly and look for the truth in any situation. I know myself, power comes from the inside out. That feels like a really strong energy needed for next year as well. Just being able to stand in our own strength and remain sovereign. Oh, fairy circles. I see magic everywhere. I look deeper for a solution. I am open to transforming myself. Curiosity is valuable to me. What? I wonder where these fairy circles are. I'm going to have a look. Let's have a look in the book. Because, like, who doesn't want to be where fairy circles are? So, it's not numbered. The cards aren't numbered, so fairy circles. Let's read this card. So you get these 2 pages and a little bit on the other side. So just tune into this. Fairy circles. I see magic everywhere. I look deeper for a solution. I am open to transforming myself. Curiosity is valuable to me. Key energies. Mystery, magic, building. Well, it's sort of like mystery, magic, building, transformation, synergy, support. And then it tells you the GPS as well. So the location is in Namibia, Africa, but they are found elsewhere on the continent. So, I mean, fairy circles, you can find them yourself. So it's just about looking and going out into nature and finding them. Among the natural world is where you can find fairies and fairy circles. So the primary element is earth. So the description is, imagine walking across a wide plain of red soil in Africa. Antelope and oryx are bounding along the horizon. The heat is causing the horizon to shimmer. Then as you climb over a small hillock, you see the first of many, a perfect circle, and then another and another. Welcome to the land of fairy circles. The almost perfect circles range from about 20 centimeters across to almost 2 meters. They are barren in the center and the edge is usually quite lush grass or plant life, and there are thousands of them. The landscape is transformed. So native peoples have many stories to explain the circles. Some say that the gods and goddesses have appeared and walked through the landscape, and this is the evidence. Some say that a dragon who lives under the plain has breath so hot that it burns the underside of the soil in bubbles. Rather less romantically, scientists have speculated everything from latent reactivity to plant toxins to ant movement. The first time I saw fairy circles, I was delighted and mystified. I was living in Africa at the time, and it was the end of a long hot day, and a friend of mine suggested we go for a sunset drive because he wanted to show me something. I walked into a landscape that I didn't forget in a hurry, circles everywhere. It seemed so mysterious, and it was obvious something was going on here. But what? The second time, I saw them from above, from a light plane. You really get a sense for how noticeable they are in rather featureless environment. And again, it spikes your curiosity up to another level. So it just goes on a little bit about the magic of nature and the animals, like the animal kingdom and the insect kingdom. Also the elements, which you would expect in a earth deck. So when you visit, so it tells you a bit about when you visit that place. There are a number of places you get your fairy circle hit within Nambia. And but yeah, so I mean, obviously we're not all going to get to go to all these places that are on these cards, unless of course we travel there in our like meditation or you know, astral travel there or something like that. But I mean, which you can, of course you can do that. You can tune into the energy of and connect with the energy of anywhere, of any planet. So it's, well, but it's also too about an invitation to explore your own environment, I feel anyway. And go out and connect to your nature and see if you can find fairy circles or mushrooms or trees, you know, of course are connected to fairies as well. So there's that. I mean, even just looking at this, Magdalena Bay, Baja, I birth new concepts and ideas easily. I am full of flowfulness in every part of my life. Grace permeates my being. So if you live near the ocean, I live near the ocean, and we have whales visit every year. So, you know, I have access to connect to that energy. And some of you might also live in areas where you have access to the ocean that's not too far away. And you may even have whales that come and visit and, you know, perhaps give birth or use the bay as a nursery, a whale nursery, or I mean, I think that's the beauty of decks of cards, as well as we can work intuitively with how we want to work with them. So my idea for working with this card is there is another deck that I'm going to get. Laugh out loud. Funny. But yeah, so it's going to be with a crystal one. So that I can do grid work with. So I'll use the crystal one and this one together to work with particular messages. Oh, look at this beautiful one. My backyard. Home is where I make it. I can find sanctuary every day. And I feel like that's a really important message and card as well, because I think that's one thing that's come through that really stood out from 2020 is about making our homes beautiful and making our homes as nice as they can be, especially because, you know, because of the lockdown situations and things like that, a lot of people have had to stay at home. So we want that place of home to be a place of beauty and a place of sanctuary and safety, and just how you would like it. So how it inspires you. And yeah, and then even this card, my favorite place. I know there are places upon this earth that resonate deeply within me. I open myself to the healing power of these places. They are unique just as I am unique. So I really love this. And so this reminds me of times where I visited sacred lands of the First Nations people of Australia, and then through being on that land and feeling the energy there, and that provoking a healing in myself that led me back to my own homelands in Armenia. So, you know, it's just our tuning into our connection to the land, our deep connection to the earth and to the trees and to the rocks and to the soil, and just to all of it, how we're so so connected. And following this compass, like I love the idea of this compass, and like, you know, following our intuition I mean, it's sort of challenging at this time because, you know, I'm thinking about following your North Star, but at the moment with the South Node in Sagittarius and Sagittarius affecting the flight situation. So, you know, we've known that this year and probably next year, there's a lot of challenges and sort of risks around flying. So that makes that, you know, that adds a bit of a barrier to where we can go in the world in one sense. So, but there's this element of being able to dream as well. And also too that even though we can't fly, that means sort of leads us to explore the own country and our own land where we are based. So I really love that as well. So we've got Yellowstone. This one's really interesting and thought-provoking at the moment as well, which is the Statue of Liberty. I am free to be who I really am. I have a right to my own happiness and sanctuary. I am free to be authentic. So this is sort of speaking a lot to me too about our sovereignty, our personal rights and freedom, to stand in our own strength, to shine our own light, to rise above. And that's going to be very interesting going into next year as well, about having, you know, still having to take a stand for freedoms and liberties. So yeah, I feel like this is a really interesting deck. So this one, Svalbard, I don't really know much about this, but it says both darkness and light are necessary. There is light even in the darkest of night. I accept that I am part of the cycle of nature. I open myself to new wonders every day. So I'll probably share some of the work that I do with these cards possibly on my Facebook page, which is Lulu's Heart Centered Healing, so you can find me there. And oh, the Tarkine, so that's in Tasmania. Growth is good, but I acknowledge it can sometimes be painful. I accept my own wild soul. I can be alone and connected. So the Tarkine is actually a beautiful, beautiful temperate rainforest, but actually the Australian government logs it. And, you know, it's been under threat from logging native forests, old growth forests, which is just absolutely unbelievable that they continue to do that. You know, in Australia, when we've seen such, you know, the severity of the weather extremes and how we need our rainforests, how the earth needs the rainforests to be healthy, and, you know, to support our life and our environment. So yeah, there's a lot to feel into with this, but that's just a brief look. And, you know, everyone always tunes into and works with their decks differently. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about card decks, that you can work with them however you like. And so yeah, with the Uluru card, it is, I have power and it is real. I create my destiny. I carry the greatness of my ancestors in my body and soul. So this is a really beautiful message. And I think it's a really beautiful message for especially people that have been through, like for people that have been through historical trauma and that have survived genocides, because one thing that we can do when we've been through that is we can, you know, if we think about generational trauma and things like that, we can carry the grief, and because that burden of grief, if left unhealed and unprocessed through our cellular memory, is so great that we can sometimes miss the strengths of our ancestors and the beauty of our ancestors and all the sort of positive good things, because that can be the nature of trauma, right? That it makes us focus on the because of what the effect it has in our body and our brain connection and things like that, it's more easy for us to focus on what was dangerous or was upsetting. So that's just the way the human body is set up. So that's part of the power of healing as well, is that once we do heal, then we have more access to feel other things besides the hurt and the pain and the grief. So, oh my goodness, this deck, I can see why it says Earth Power Oracle. And I mean, we haven't really even tapped into the power of this earth, the power of this land, our connection to it. And if I add the crystals as well, because obviously they're part of the earth power as well, we are just scratching the surface. So an atlas for the soul is a really beautiful description. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you, and I'll try and share what decks I do have throughout 2021. If I do get a deck, I'll try and do a unboxing and just a little bit of a walkthrough. Yeah, so anyway, thank you for joining, and I will have another video up soon. If you want to join the Alchemy Academy, which is a online group, it's off my Facebook page, which is Lulu's Heart Centered Alchemy, and it is $10 a month to be part of that group, but it is essentially, it's my Patreon group, and also you get, every month I do an individual reading as well for people that are in that group. So that's part of the membership as well as sharing downloads and things like that. So feel free to check that out, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.